ran with Atari's, and everything looked really good. Counting down, everything was pretty smooth. Really didn't have any issues. The weather looked great. The law, a couple ways to evaluate, all pretty nominal, pretty benign environment to launch in. Really didn't have any issues pre-count. There was a flow meter on the RT1 that we thought wasn't working, and then of course we started blowing the RT and it started working. So I accused our guys of trying to make up problems so they would have something to work on and talk about during the pre-count. So other than that, it was very smooth and kicked right down through the count. Liftoff was right on the money, right at the beginning of the window. So 230 plus configuration looked fully successful. The orbit that we achieved was within 1 sigma of our predictions, both on perigee and apogee, and inclination was within half a sigma. So right on the prediction. That means our models were very good in terms of predicting our performance and how we're going to fly through the atmosphere and so on, and the amount of energy we're going to get out of each stage of propulsion. All the stage separation events look very clean, right on the timeline. So overall, very good flight. Right?
All right. Well, first of all, thanks to Kurt and the M.A.R.S team for a tremendous launch, and the orbit was fantastic. We know the orbit is right on the money because the comms people, the tracking antennas are all in the right places, so we get telemetry right off coming off the rocket. So that all happened great. Right away, the sequence that happens autonomously on the spacecraft is we start initializing everything. The first thing we actually do is initialize the guidance system, and that went very well. And then we initialize the propulsion system because of the orbit that we get from Antares that we take over from there. We're kind of like a third stage in a way. And we perform what we call target altitude burn. So there's an altitude that we want to hit before we actually start all of our operations. And so that's in the plan, and we do 2 of those. One at apogee and one at perigee. And then we'll get to the right altitude, and then the team will do the rest of the in-orbit checkouts of the spacecraft. So far, that has all gone well. The first target altitude burn, called tabs, is complete, and the second one is just about to start, or probably already started as we speak. All the telemetry looks great. We've got good communication, we've got good telemetry. The burn is about a 15-minute. I keep getting texted data. Yeah, that's good. About a 15 to 20-minute burn. And then the big event that we'll wait for is the deployment of the solar arrays. That will not start until about an hour and 20 minutes or so from now. When the actual arrays start to deploy, it's a multi-stage deployment process. It's something we've done on multiple missions now. And that should be done around 1:30 p.m. So there'll be some updates I'm sure on social media as we complete that. But so because of that great launch, we are on track to rendezvous with the ISS early Monday morning. Grapple is scheduled for 4:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And our team will actually be in our mission control center around the clock until then. But that particular effort will start a few hours before that, when we start to acquire the space station, start to have communications with the space station, and start the process of rendezvous. So we're excited for that all happening so far. Looks great. And the other thing I did want to make sure I mentioned, because my team sent me a picture, we now officially have 2 Cygnus vehicles in orbit at the same time. They sent me a picture of the screen, and the screen has 2 Cygnus vehicles on it with the orbit parameters and all the telemetry. So as it was sent to me in the text, we're not only flying a Cygnus, now we're flying a flock. Right? So we're excited about that. So looking forward to the next steps.
That's Signi?
Signi, yeah. Signi, flock of Signi. So it's good stuff. All right, so
yeah, that's
anyone
an
have any
excellent
questions?
quote. Yeah.
How much battery power do you have? Since the solar array deploys at 2.5 hours roughly.
We got hours and hours and hours of battery. The batteries on Cygnus are sized so that if we're on the ISS and we don't get any power from the ISS, and our solar arrays aren't getting any sun, we have to survive 24 hours of full power on Cygnus. And so now we will eventually get sun on the solar arrays. This couple of hours we'll get only a small amount into the batteries. We've got lots of fun.
Is this the way you've always been doing it? at about 2.5 hours? I don't remember. It seems like it's later,
It
but.
varies between an hour and a half and roughly, it's probably the latest we've done. And it's all about the getting the set of communications and the lighting conditions to deploy the solar. We do like to be in the sunlight because we have cameras that take pictures and video the array deployment, mainly for troubleshooting in case there was issues. We like to have full sun to do that because we have the time on the batteries. We have all sorts of flexibility. So that's why it's that much longer.
Hoping to ride the enthusiasm wave here. Two Cygni, right? How do you feel about the future with that in mind? And, we've heard, obviously, the announcement at IAC last week with Blue Origin and how Northrop will be involved in that. And how does Cygnus relate to what's going on there? You may not be able to share anything quite yet, but.
Well, I think all I'll say about that is we have said for a long time that we believe Cygnus has the building blocks to go on and do bigger, better things out in lunar orbit and beyond. And we think that's going to continue. One of the reasons we've continued to increase the capability of Cygnus over time was certainly, first and foremost, to support our NASA customer on this particular mission, but also to have the capabilities in the system to grow the system later. So as we continue to do this the upgrades we've done for CRS-2, again, focused on the science. But if you think about it, that the need for science is going to become really big out of the moon and eventually Mars. So all those things will continue to build upon, and we think Cygnus is the right platform to get on.
Yeah, John McGill with Wyandotte Cable. Is there any plans for any ISS orbital boost burns on this mission?
On this, from Cygnus itself, no. No, we never fitted that on our 089 mission, but there's not plans.
We heard on the voice loop this morning, I guess the flight director was requesting a trajectory 3 profile. That implies there's a 1 and 2. Could you describe just in general terms what's the difference?
Sure, yeah, it's all about the winds. Okay. So there are seasonal winds here at Wallops, and we actually, Wallops flies 2 balloons every day, and they put them into a huge database, and so they share that database with users. So those balloons record wind direction and speed and a couple other parameters every 1,000 feet or so, send it down. That's just automatically reported every day within a big database. So our GNC guys use that, and they develop a set of trajectories to fly in different wind conditions that are going to result in good structural loading on the vehicle. You can get wind shear is the worst loading case where you can get bending on the vehicle. That puts a lot of load on the structure. So we've developed 5 trajectories. So there's actually a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 5 trajectories. Of course, in a digital world, you have to name the first one 0. So those are preloaded and pre-canned into the flight computer. They really just affect the near range part of the trajectory. So the part where you're really in the thick part of the atmosphere that's subject to wind. Beyond that, they're all pretty much the same.
Right.
But it just basically is a little bit of a different steering profile on the first stage, and it helps us with certain different wind conditions. And so on the day of launch, we actually start flying balloons at 8.5 hours out. So LMS 8.5, and then every hour thereafter we fly a balloon. Our GNC guys have a couple of Linux boxes. They're actually running a really detailed loads sim, and they're able to fly the rocket against those specific measured balloon data winds. They actually do a whole fly out, and then they are able to get structural loads at a bunch of different key station locations on the rocket, and look at the structural margins and determine which, and from that, they determine which of those trajectories has the lowest margins given that balloon set. So number 3 was tracking all the way through from the 8.5 hour balloon all the way down to the 2.5 hour balloon. That's the last one. It takes about 1,000 feet a minute to get up there. So it takes, an hour, a little over an hour to actually get up to 60,000, 70,000 feet. That's where we needed the balloon to get to. That data then gets downloaded and run in the sim. So it takes a little processing time. So the 2.5 hour balloon is the last one that really determines the trajectory that we're going to fly on a given day.
Great, thank you.
Hi. So yesterday, Frank, you noted that you didn't have an exact date for when NG-12, which is currently pre-flying in orbit, will be deorbited. With the second Cygnus going to the station, will that inform the timeline for NG-11 at all?
Yeah, so our plan was obviously we wanted to demonstrate this. This was a major milestone being this long duration free-flying experiment for NG-11. Now that we're doing that, we'll have a couple of days before we get to the ISS. We'll continue to fly NG-11 as a independent spacecraft. And then we'll pull the team together and take a look at what we've accomplished on NG-11, if there's any other experiments the team would like to run on the spacecraft, any data they'd like to get for the two vehicles being in orbit at the same time. And then we'll start to make the plan to end the NG-11 mission. So we don't have a timeline on that yet. We'll figure that out over the next couple of weeks.
So the atmospheric conditions today allow you to carry.
Call from +18438291180.
Well, the 230 plus design includes more metal at the inner tank bay between the two tanks, the kerosene and LOX tank, and more metal at the forward bay of the core. That gives us better bending capability, structural capability. That plus a load relief autopilot that we've implemented, we've used on some other vehicles that we're borrowing. That allows us to fly 5% throttle and plan to fly 5% throttle regardless of the weather conditions. And then we just placard, we have these structural placards, and if the winds are so terrible on a given day, then we'll just bust the placards and we won't launch. But our analysis of the statistical winds database says we got 92, 93% availability for winds on any given day, given the historical winds at Wallace. I was telling Keith, I appreciate the fact they've got this weather control device here at Wallace so they can control the weather and produce the perfect launch day for us.
Thank you, Frank. Congratulations on having two signals at the same time. So, number one, can we get that screenshot too?
I was just going to ask that.
That shows them their trajectories. And then two, you mentioned kind of the testing that's been going on NG-11. And I'm wondering what kind of experiments you've been doing over the last few months to demonstrate that free-flying aspect of it. And what might come up, like what are the challenges of having two of them there? Is it you can let it post? Do you have like two teams watching it? Is someone watching it? Or can you use the same control room for everything? I'm just wondering what for the next few days, what looks like.
So I think to your first question, we should be able to get the picture of the screenshot and get that out. We'll try to think of a better one than that. As far as the experiments go, we had a couple of major things we wanted to accomplish. One, we wanted to have the ability on Cygnus and on other government spacecraft to show that we can implement what we call the control moment gyro, which is a package of inertial measurement system, wheels for control, and show that we can actually control Cygnus using what's called the CMG. And that's important for us because without that, Cygnus actually uses fuel to control the attitude. With the CMG, we don't need the fuel. We can use the fuel just for orbit maintenance as opposed to attitude control to really extend the life of Cygnus. So we have already demonstrated that the CMG is operating properly, and they have been, that we are using a minuscule amount of fuel to actually control the attitude. So that's a great accomplishment. The second thing we wanted to show is that the avionics that we designed that really had only flown in space on the other vehicles for a few months at a time could actually last several months. So we launched in April. We are past the 6-month mark in orbit and past the 3-month mark free flying. We have not lost any redundancy on the spacecraft. We have all the computers up and running. And so at that level, we've satisfied that criteria, except if we want to fly longer and get more data, we can do that. The team will take all that data, and has been taking all that data, to review it and see if there's anything in the system. The third thing we wanted to do was the two Cygnus vehicles at the same time. And of course, we'll demonstrate that over the next whatever. We'll let the team figure out if there's anything else they want to do in terms of testing the vehicle. That happens on every mission we've flown. And we'll see if there's any additional data we want to gather, and then we'll decide on the mission.
And you just let NG-11 coast while the team is controlling NG-12?
Oh, yeah. So we have, the way we've set the system up, we have the same engineering and operations team flying both vehicles at the same time. They're able to see both the telemetry from both spacecraft, they're able to command both spacecraft. So we don't have a separate team doing 11 and a separate team doing 12. We wanted to demonstrate as another capability using the same team to fly the spacecraft.
Just one quick follow-up. We were trying to look back for U.S. crew capabilities when the last time two at the same time were in space at this time. You mentioned the milestone for the drone, but we couldn't find one until we got back to Gemini 67 and 65. And I'm just wondering, I mean, it's a milestone for Northrop Grumman, but it seems like an important one for U.S. human crew capable vehicles as well. And I'm just wondering if that's something you guys have thought about for that system.
Sure. That's great, yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's great for the team. I mean, Texas getting, excited we are having a few spacecraft for a lot of really good work by the team to be able to do that. That's what we're really proud of.
Well, if I can, we gotta get, Frank Curtis back, because he's got a spacecraft to fly. We can take one more question and then wrap up.
Looking ahead, is there any chance that down the line, Cygnus, because it is working so beautifully, it might be possible to re-engineer it as a survivable re-entry system?
Well, Cygnus is designed to maximize, as it is, designed to maximize the amount of pressurized cargo with the ISS and take away a lot of pressurized disposal cargo and now unpressurized disposal cargo. So that's really been the focus of the vehicle. Is it possible in the future? Could be. That's not something that's currently on our horizon. So we'll continue to focus on supporting the customer with what they need us to